Hi guys, and welcome back to today's episode of the Salon CEO. My name's Chloe, and today I've got the lovely Ola Goldsmith with today. So I don't know if anyone's ever heard of her before, but she's one of the most inspirational people in the industry. I feel like any situation that she's ever been dealt, she's just completely bossed it. She's very authentic. I feel like she's very much tells you how it is. So welcome, Ola.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming. So before we get into too much, let's just really start from the beginning. So how did you get into hair? When did you start doing extensions? Just take me right from the start.
Yeah, so I was working in a sales job and one of my friends was doing hair extensions. I was 24 and she was like, oh, you should do extensions. You're so good at hair. And you know what? Everybody's doing it at the minute. It's really good money. And I was like, oh, money. So I was like, yeah, I can do that as well. And yeah, I did do it. So I went and did like a 1-day course, did all the methods, took to a couple of the methods, and then just started doing it. And I was like the only hair extension specialist in my area. Everybody else was like salon owners.
Yes.
So like doing colour, and there was no one there was a couple of salon owners that did a little bit of extensions.
Yeah.
But there was no one that just did extensions. So I was not a hairdresser. So all I knew how to do was hair extensions. So I literally went and learned hair extensions, went and learned how to cut intensively because obviously I'd never picked up a pair of scissors before. I didn't know how to cut hair.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just got really, really good and I started to become really well known in my area. So then I got a garage conversion. And then from the garage conversion, I got a salon.
Yeah.
And then I went all out on the salon. When I look back at it now, it's nothing special to look at. But at the time, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that salon.
I remember your salon. Like I remember for years, like when you had your salon, and I feel like when your decor like stood out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
think you're thinking about my third salon though.
I don't know. Did you have it with the mirrors on the wall before?
Yeah, that's my third one.
Right.
That was like my third and final one. My first ever one that, unless you're from my area, you wouldn't know about because I was only known in my area.
Yeah, I get you.
I had the glitter wall, so it was really thick.
Oh my God, the paper. I remember that.
And it was like so hard to lay, but I was like the first person
to
in my area that had it. So, and then I had like, it was just crystals everywhere.
I remember. Like, I think it's funny because when you decorate your salons, it literally is like themed, isn't it? And like every time, like there's certain things. Like, I remember the glitter wallpaper. That was like a real thing, wasn't it?
And I was literally the only one to have it. So I was like, I think I became like a bit of an attraction then
because you stood out with
that.
Yeah,
and I'm in a tiny little town as well, low income area. Mm-hmm. So everyone was like, what is this salon? And she's charging so much money for hair extensions. Yeah. And this is another thing. Like I do a lot of psychology now, but at the time I didn't know the psychology of me being that standout expensive salon. People wanted it because they were like, well, what is this?
True. Yeah, so true.
And I'm very competitive as well. I don't like being second to anyone. I'm like, I will be the best fucking salon in this town. And then if anyone copied me, I would change my stuff. So then like loads of people started getting the glitter wall. So I had light up mirrors. So I was like, no, that's it. I'm going to have light up mirrors.
But the thing is though, and that you can just tell that in you is in you. Like it just obviously all through your career and everything you've done is followed through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so from obviously then doing your hair extensions, I mean, to me, you were one of the first people to obviously bring such a popular hair extension method to the market. How did that come about? And then how did that, when obviously that launched, how did you manage obviously salon life and bringing out a method to the industry?
So I was actually pregnant and it was a random idea that one of my clients actually had the idea at the time. She was like, she really wanted to, I was like trying to make everybody have a weave because I was pregnant and I was like, they're so fast, so profitable. I was like, you need a weave. And like they were giving me objection after objection. And I was like, let's just fix it. They're like, oh, I don't like that. You can see the beads. And I don't like, and I used to just try and fix every problem that they had. And then I started testing it on my clients. And I literally remember I'd come out of that salon because I was pregnant and my staff were unreliable. So I was like, I'm not going to have a salon. Mm-hmm. And then whilst I was pregnant, I'd found another little salon that had mould on the walls and everything, and I put the glitter wallpaper up again. I put gold one up this time.
Yeah.
And I just put a picture up of it, and everyone was like, "What is this?" I'd like covered the beads. I'd looked at a couple of countries like America. There was some, but obviously there were thousands and thousands of the courses. So I was like, I don't really know what they're doing. Yeah. So I'm just going to make it up. So I kind of like made it up, and I was like, I want to do this as a course. One of my clients was a hair extension technician herself, and she was like, she let me test on her because we were like friends.
Of course, yeah.
And then she was like, I
Love
need to learn this. And then I was like, I don't even know if we can get insurance for it.
Yeah.
So I rang up ABT and I was like, can I bring out my own method that's like, I've made it up? Because I didn't know that was
I
a
feel
thing.
like I didn't know it was a thing. Like I didn't even know. I don't know if you brought it from somewhere else and you brought it over here. You actually just made it up yourself.
I just made it up. So then and it changed a little bit. So I started teaching it, and then people would run into problems, and I'd have to change things.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, as long as you like write it all up and accredit it. And that's the funny thing as well, because I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, and it was perfectly safe. I tested it.
Yeah.
But imagine someone brings out a method that is not perfectly safe and is not tested.
That's actually quite scary.
You can just do that.
That is actually mental.
You can make it up because all of these methods of hair extensions are made up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Luckily for me, the tools were already on the market.
Yeah.
I wasn't bringing
So it
new
wasn't
tools.
completely foreign what you brought out. It was like an adjustment as opposed to what was out there.
Yeah. I had a little bit of backlash from it, which I loved. And
that's what gets you known at the end of the day.
Everyone's like, I already know how to do that. And I'm like, well, you're not teaching people. Stop being a gatekeeper. Like, if you know how to do it, show us.
Yeah.
Like, you should have been showing us if you've been doing this for years. Like, I had a lot of people saying, well, I've been doing it like that for years. And I'm like, well, you've been a gatekeeper for years then. As soon as I knew how to do it, I was like, let me teach everybody.
I love that.
And capitalise on that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. It went really big, and then it was lockdown, and I got my first business coach in lockdown.
Okay.
And I was like, I've got a little bit of money, but not a lot. But also, I need to go online, but I don't know how to do online training.
Yeah, so
and
true.
I don't know if this is going to be something that people take to online.
Yeah.
But I do think lockdown helped.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people in lockdown blew up who did training online because everyone was like, I want to do something. So, like, even if you were in the industry, I actually spoke to a girl yesterday who was like, I did a hair extension course in lockdown. Oh, but I never did anything with it.
Yeah.
No, because you can't actually practice on people. So
I
it's
did a
amazing.
hair loss, not a hair loss, a wig course.
So did I. Oh, God, that's
that I couldn't do
hilarious.
anything.
Yeah.
When I went back to the salon, I was really busy. I was like, I ain't got time for this.
Oh my God, I reckon we probably did it with the same person, to be honest.
Probably, yeah.
But I did a wig course. I actually know a couple of other girls in the industry who did it at the same time because, again, we had like time on our hands to practice. And like you say, no one had time when you got back in that salon.
When we got back in the salon, I was like, I'm not going to be wasting time being really slow at wigs when I've got like money to make and all my existing clients to serve.
Yeah, that's so true.
So that just fizzled out.
That's hilarious. So then, obviously, Dragons then come around.
Yeah.
How did that come around? Did you apply for it? Like, what was the whole situation with that?
So, during lockdown, when the company was getting really big, Naked Weave was doing really, really well, I was flipping loving it. And I'm one of those people, I'm like, you have to go as fast as possible. Once you are on that train, you're on it. 100%. You fall off the track. And I was like, what next? What next? And I was like, I just need to bring out the skinny little tiny weft. I just need to bring out the skinny little tiny weft. And I went on a website called Angels Investment Network, and I learned how to pitch to investors.
Right.
And I was making all these like pitch decks and learning about all this.
Yeah.
And I got an investor that was really close to investing. So he was going to do a complete buyout of my company. I was going to go on the payroll, and he was going to make it really big. He's actually one of the main investors in, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's Yellow, it's Absolute Collagen, but he took them from like something small to like millions and millions and millions.
No way.
But yeah, he pulled out in the end. He said it's too complex. It's too much of a complex industry, which it is. It is. And I learned that obviously when I eventually...
Of course.
Yeah, so because he like pulled out at the last minute, I was like, oh, I'm so like...
So you obviously got the investor like, you know,
Bug,
like...
Yeah,
and then you're like,
so
right, what can I do?
I'll go on Dragon's Den.
Oh,
and I did
God,
all... It was still lockdown.
Was
so
it
I was
really?
like doing Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom auditions for Dragon's Den.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still like all the way up till the very end. They were like, you might not go on, you might go on. Even if you film, you might not get shown.
No way.
Yeah. But I was like, I will get flipping shown. I
will get on there.
We are not about to waste all this time and not get shown.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God, I love that. So obviously from Dragon's Den, well, obviously we know like no one invested, but then what happened like after that? And what would you take from that situation?
So 9 months went by where I couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And I just got myself prepped because I was like, this is going to go on national TV and I'm going to make something of it. So I prepped, I got on LinkedIn, and I learned to network. I learned that it was not necessarily always what you know, it's who you know.
100%.
And it's about like your values, your personality, all of that is just as important. So I got prepared for that coming onto TV.
Yeah.
And I almost like prepared myself in case there was going to be, you never know with TV, people either love you or hate you or in between.
100%.
No,
It's
really,
good that you mentally prepared yourself for that as well, you know?
yeah. Nothing really happened. Nobody was really like, no one hated me. No one like, I got loads of good, I didn't get anything like really bad, which was good. But then I got a lot of investor interest. So when it went on TV, I went on the radio, and there was a couple of other nearly deals.
Yeah.
And this guy got somebody from his office to message me on LinkedIn and said that, you know, I used to work with her, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I used to work at Yellow Pages with her in this advertising company with her years ago, like 10 years prior to this.
Yeah.
And so she must have said, oh, I know the girl that was on Dragon's Den. He's watched it and he's like, get me in contact with her.
Yeah, of course.
So we did. And then I was going on holiday, I went and had a meeting with him. And do you know what? He was the nicest man ever, like proper. If it was a relationship, you'd call it love bombing, but like in a business way.
Yeah, of course.
So
I get you.
Like,
I get you.
I've got, I own a pub, a hotel. I also own a hospitality company. Like, you are never going to need to pay for a night out or anything like that again. Like, you're going to have VIP.
You were impressed.
Everywhere.
Everything you had probably like dreamed of.
Honey.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my
Everything
new
you'd
life.
ever dreamed of was literally at your feet. Yeah, 100%.
And so he didn't talk me out of it. He said, it's your decision, but what are you going to do if you have a cash flow crisis with these other people that we're going to invest and they're only giving you this much money? He basically said, you're going to have a cash flow crisis, and if you invest with me, you won't.
Right, get you.
And also, I've got all of these other perks.
Yeah.
So I was like, great. Where do I sign?
Yeah. Wooed you, basically.
Wooed me. The budgets that he gave me for collabs and stuff, luckily I didn't go with them because I was like, this is too much, it's going to be a waste. But it was a dream for 6 months and it went really, 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 really well. And then he just turned out of nowhere.
It's so much, isn't
honestly, for about, let's say 6 months, from January 2023 to June 2023, when I eventually signed it over, for those listening that don't know, I was just at turmoil with what to do. I was like, oh. At first, I dismissed everything when he was horrible do you know what? Just be grateful. This guy that doesn't even know you has just put all this money in your company. You have to be grateful. So if anybody would say a bad thing about him and like, oh,
you'd be like, no.
I'd be like, well, what you've got to remember is, guys.
He did start it. Yeah. I mean, because I feel like I obviously remember the hair brand and you gifted so much hair to extensions like myself and like obviously in time we took it on, and it was like one of those things that again was never been seen by anyone to do that. And do you think you did that because you know obviously as a salon owner and people who fits hair that you are very dubious about taking on hair brands? So is that the reason why you went with gifting loads of hair?
Yeah, I think as well, salon owners are your biggest advert. If you can get it, like you've got to go untraditional. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, how do we get salon owners? They're not going to just stick it in their client's hair. It's a new hair brand. Yeah. Anything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong with existing brands and new brands as well. But, you know, we've got to just try it. Yeah. And I think salon owners are often ignored because they want the collabs with the influencers.
100%.
They want the salon owner to just stand there and work for free.
Yeah, it's so true.
Whereas if you go in and you're doing the salon owners, the number one thing is that salon owner has got peers that look up to them. Yeah. So a lot of people, if you gift a really big salon, what you will find is all the people that want to be like that salon will copy that salon. 100%. So I was just very clever with marketing.
Very clever.
It wasn't about like the gifting, it was about the network.
I even remember you saying, you didn't fit mine, but I remember you saying, I'll come fit it for you. And I was like,
go around other people's, Yeah,
and I thought, what? Like, you know, and that's crazy. And it must have done well through that because no one else would ever offer that, especially with hair brands, you know?
And that's what you have to do. You have to do what others won't do.
Yeah, but that to me just shows everything you put everything into, you can just tell that you are like 2 feet in everything, you know? I am. So obviously people that don't know, we won't go over the situation with your business partner, but off the back of that, looking back now, do you feel like you've taken so much, and obviously where you are now, do you feel like obviously you had to go through that to get to it, but do you feel like now you look at that and think, oh my God, I'm so glad that happened? Because you wouldn't be where you are now.
I would do it again. Yeah. Because do you know what? The good times from it were really, really good. And the thing is with me, if I get an idea in my head, there's no flipping way that I'm going to move past the idea until I've done it. Yeah. So there's no way thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done it. I would have done it. Yeah. Because there's no way
you would have not done it.
I need to learn myself. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And also, didn't like selling hair. I hated it. It was like, honestly.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't dare say anything because it was
It's
the
hard though,
dream.
because you
It
are-
was the dream. And,
Yeah,
and
and
then I was
that's
like,
the
this
thing.
is not fun.
Again relates to so much things. Like you work with something and when you get there, you think, this is not what I wanted. You know, like you have this vision in your head of like, okay, yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, and then you think, this is actually not what I want
I
at
didn't
all.
enjoy it.
So
I enjoyed going around to the salons and stuff like that.
and the networking.
And the networking.
Yeah.
So I knew that I was a people person.
Which is probably why it's so good now. Like obviously where you're doing your coaching now is probably more ideal for you because all the things you probably liked in that part you can now take forward.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously going into your hair, beauty and aesthetics coach, how did that come around?
Well, number one, I had a non-compete. So when I signed over that company, by the way, I signed it over for £1. It's really important to know that I lost everything with that brand.
Yeah,
The salon premises that was mine with all the gorgeous, the third salon, the one that you would have seen online, that was gone. All my staff was gone. All my customers were gone. I was allowed to do customers, but only sole trader. But a few months prior to that, I'd given up customers to run the company. So that comes back to that question, actually. How was it doing both?
Yeah.
You couldn't do both.
Yeah.
You can't do both.
You have
can't
to
pull it
literally
up.
go from like one to the other,
One
don't
or
you?
the other. Like it would have been too much. So I gave up all my clients anyway. So it did make it a little bit easier because I was like, well, I've fucking lost those. They're gone anyway.
Yeah.
And also, once I stopped doing hair, I didn't really miss it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
When you get to the point, I think, when you've done something for so long, you're literally like, okay, what's new? Like, what's next, you know?
Yeah. So it was the best thing that, and it was bad at the time.
Yeah, but probably the best thing that happened to you.
I really needed that to happen.
Yeah.
I really needed that to happen. And also, it's these big lessons that now as a coach makes me so relatable because
100%.
no one likes somebody that goes from 0 to 100 without a fall. No one. How
so
can we
true.
relate? How can we
it's
relate?
so true, yeah.
We can't.
And that is it. Like, you want someone to teach you who's actually been through the crap.
What not to do.
know. Yeah, 100%. Like, I'll tell you how to get from here to here, and then I'll miss all the shit that I spent money on in the time.
I liked your post the other day, actually. All the things that here's things that I've wasted money on. And I thought, do you know what? Such an honest post.
You have
because
to.
people don't like to stand up and say, well, that was a waste and I shouldn't have done that.
And that is the thing. Like, and I feel like now, especially like the way that you speak, it's telling people, actually, I fucking spent this money on this, and I got here because I invested this much money, or I took a risk on this. And I think that's the thing. Like, when we're so with Instagram, look what I've got. But actually, I've got this, and I'm proud to say I've got this because I've been through this shit and I've learned from it, you know? So it's so true. But I think people are being more realistic about
I like
their falls and their fails rather than just being like, oh my God, I'm amazing. Like, I've done this. Like, no.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you've had a great straight upward journey and everything's been amazing, great, but you won't be able to be a business coach because you won't understand your customers when they're in the shit. If you've never been in the shit, then you won't be able to help them.
100%. So obviously now with your coaching, did you where did you obviously you want to be a business coach, but obviously your main thing, if you go back to your strengths, obviously that's where you came from with your your educators, and how does that all run, and then how do you finding people to invest in you? Like, is that really hard? Like, what?
So the reason I went into coaching, first of all, is because my salon was a 6-figure salon. Then I went into education. That was a separate business that Naked Weave was. That was a 6-figure business. So I had a 6-figure salon and a 6-figure education was at the same time in lockdown, which I made work. Loads of people closed their business in lockdown, and I understand it's not their fault, but I didn't. And then I went into selling hair, and we did 6 figures within a month, 2 months. Maximum. So I was like, I know how to, all of my businesses make 6 figures in the first year. That's a fucking skill. So I knew that I had that skill, and I knew that I needed to package a skill in order to make money and start again. And I needed to stay in the same industry with the network that already know, like, and trust me to have a fast start. If I start with the unknown, it's going to take me a long time. I've got a house,
100%.
I've got a mortgage, I've got kids. Ain't got no time to be broke. So I had to pick something that I was really good at and that was proven. I can't just run.
Well, that's it. You can't just randomly make these facts up, and then people are going to be like, well, she's never done that, you know. So
that's where it came about. And at first I found it really hard I found it quite easy because I was selling really low ticket items. So I found it really easy. But what I didn't like was I didn't really enjoy working with those people that are in that struggle. They're not my people. There are certain coaches that are for them, and it wasn't my personality. I didn't enjoy it. So then obviously I went more premium, and I found it hard at first because I didn't understand my audience. So I was speaking to the wrong audience in the wrong language, and I wasn't really standing out from the crowd enough. But it only took me like 6 weeks to realise, okay, what USP am I going to have? How I'm going to stand out to the crowd. Yeah. Then I started offering something that nobody else offers, and I still don't know anybody else that offers it.
No,
I will build your hair extension course or your laser course or whatever course with you in a day at a laptop for a fee. I'll do all the tech with you and for you.
That's mental.
Didn't know anybody else that would do that. I was travelling. I don't travel anymore now, and I've got the privilege of saying, if you want it done, you come to me.
Yeah, of course.
I was travelling everywhere.
Yeah.
So then I didn't find it hard getting people to invest in me because they couldn't get what I was offering anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it was a highly in demand thing. Everyone, after lockdown.
Well, everyone is now scaling up. Everyone is like, how is anything scalable? So I can imagine that's actually crazy, like the amount of people
so now it's easy because you don't need loads and loads of customers. You don't want everyone.
No, you don't.
Either. So now I find it really easy because I'll only want to work with certain people. Yeah. And there's actually certain people that I think, I don't really want to work with them.
Yeah.
And I don't. And I think then that sometimes makes it even more desirable because then they're like, no, honestly, well, what about if they, and then they start trying to change themselves. And I'm like, well, no, you just showed your true colours, which is fine, but it's not for me.
Yeah. And that's so good. Like, I think you're someone with mindset, like you've obviously been through shit and you just picked yourself up. And I think I'm a reel or something you put up once or a story and you like talked about obviously the extension brand and you were like, gave it a day. And then I was like, what's next? And I was like, that is amazing.
Cry for a day.
Yeah, and that is it. Like, cry for a day and then you get on with it. And I think there is some people that are just like that. You think, okay, whatever's been thrown at you, what is the next best thing? Like, we'll dust ourselves off and we'll just get on with it. Yeah. And I think sometimes like with you and the likability is, you're so honest with that, you're just like, nope, done with that now. Like, let's move on to the rest. So like, obviously on your Instagram, you speak a lot about money. Like, how does that have an impact with, like, do you think that appeals to people? Do you think it like is a negative effect? Because I do feel like it is meant to motivate and that's how I take it. But I imagine some people take it as showing off.
For my audience, they freaking love it. Yeah. They love it. And there will be people that will not like it. But at the moment, I don't really have anybody that would dare tell me to my face that they don't like it. So who cares? Not really my problem.
Well, no, exactly.
I do have like the odd random, it's usually a man with no profile picture, a male name with no profile picture, that will say that it's a lie. So that's when I started posting screenshots because I do realise that some people do lie. So the only reason that I post screenshots is mainly for credibility because I don't want people to think that I've made it up.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
It's great to be at that stage where I'm like, do you know what? This is the dream. This is a dream that I have to prove that I've done something good. Yeah. But for me, it's the way that I buy. So I'm very motivated by money. I really like money. I really enjoy money. It gives you choices. It gives you options. Yeah. And I like selling to people that also have those same money. Values.
Of course.
So anybody that doesn't is really not going to come and have coaching from me. So what does it matter?
Yeah, it's so
it's
true.
It's not really going to make any difference to me whatsoever.
Yeah, that
you know
is
what I mean?
so
Even
true.
I think sometimes some of my friends and family, I do think sometimes when I post something and they've seen it, I'm like, they're going to be like, they're going to think this, that and the other. Yeah. But then I also think, well, it's not really my problem.
No,
it's not really. I'm not going to stop doing it.
No, so. No, and that's it. And I feel like it should be talked about because people, that's what we all want to know. Like, what can I make from this? So, but it's just maybe some people don't feel like they like to talk about it as much as they're maybe attracted to it.
Yeah, they might think it's cringe, which when I first started talking about it, I did used to really, really cringe. But now I just get used to it.
I think we all do that though. Like, the first time we're like taking a video of ourselves talking, you're like, oh God, like cringe. You kind of get to the point where you just get past that. You think, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's going to make me like successful and what I want to do.
And it's even leadership. I used to cringe at leadership. I used to I remember I got a coach at the start of this year and she was like, right, you need to go and tell them that I am the go-to expert. And I'm like, oh my God, I say that every day now for fun. But the first time I said it, I was like, I am the go-to
It's so funny, isn't it? Like you say these things and I'm like, I don't know if I can talk about myself like that. Yeah, but you just get used to it.
I properly believe it. I'm like, yeah, I fucking am.
And that's the thing again. Like, and that's it. Like when you see results, which must be the most rewarding thing in your job now, like seeing people's results and being like, I fucking did that. Like, like I did that. They've literally listened to me. They've done the work. Yeah. And then they're obviously where they are now. So I know obviously recently you spoke about a situation at an award ceremony and obviously someone like verbally attacked you.
Yeah.
after that happened, how do you feel now? Like going forward, is in like public events, like, are you okay? Does it bother you?
Yeah, do you know what? The honest truth is, I was with my husband and I was a bit humiliated at the time. So I didn't say anything. And I'm really glad that I was with my husband and I was a bit humiliated and I didn't say anything. But now I think if it happened again, I'd be humiliated because I'd be flying across the table and smashing their heads in. Yeah. I literally would. I think because it's happened once and I kind of let it go, I don't think I'd be able to let it go again. It's not
awful,
good.
Isn't it? Because you think in this industry, like, we're all doing the same thing. We're all just like, you know, but for someone to do that, I just think in nowadays, it's just awful. Like,
I wouldn't want to do it because I wouldn't want to make my business, I think, like, say something like what she said was like, unspeakable, like, and unprovoked as well. But I can't, because it's been said once and I've had time to sit and think about how terrible it was. I think if it was said again, I don't know if I'd be able to control my reaction.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, you're so shocked probably from what happened. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. But actually, you go away and think about it. You're like,
I'm glad that I didn't do anything because nobody would have known what happened. They would have just seen it. She wanted to take me outside and everything. I was like, you're joking me. Like, you're really, honestly, trash.
Oh, mental. It's actually crazy. Like, I would just be like...
And you know what the funny thing is? She was tired. I thought, if you took me outside, babe, you won't come back in.
That's so
Lucky
funny.
for her, I was chilled.
God.
And I'm glad. But it opened my eyes to not everyone likes you. She was front row at one of my events before as well. No. So it's not good. Not everyone likes you. And you know what I think it is? I think it was a little bit of a misunderstanding. Right. She thought, I didn't recognise her until afterwards. Right. So I think she thought, you know me, you've been at one of my events. And actually, one of the mindset coaches that I'm working with, she says your brain only has the ability to remember, I think it's like 100 people or something. And she was like, because you go to so many events and you meet so many people.
You're not going to know everyone.
But I find it hard to remember people anyway. Yeah. I'd even said on the group chat, I was like, by the way, girls, if I don't recognise any of you, just come up, tell me your name or your Instagram name because I won't know who you are unless I've met you a few times. Yeah. So I think she was just a bit offended that I didn't recognise her. Yeah.
Oh, that's fair
enough.
That
happens all the time. Yeah. Like, I don't recognise people all the time. And you know what? Get over yourself, like soz.
Yeah. Oh God, I'd literally die if I was in that situation. But at least it hasn't affected you, like, going forward.
Yeah,
you know,
I literally shared a post about it because I thought my husband was like, just leave it. I was like, no, I'm not saying. I've got to say something. I can't hold it in. Once I've said it out loud, then I'm fine. I didn't name her. I got it on video. I could have put that everywhere, but I was like, it's not going to look good. That's going to give me anxiety because you keep it carrying on.
Of course.
But I've got it off my chest.
But it's good that you said it.
The video. I'm like, But that makes me feel better.
Well, that's it though. And it's so good that you did talk about it because it's, you know, again, a real situation that shouldn't happen, especially not on a award ceremony like that. You know, and were you there to work as well? Like, were you doing which is even worse.
I was presenting the award. Oh, honestly.
I'd actually like...
But it happens, and I just think, do you know what? Poor old celebrities, they get it every day.
They do. That's so true.
It's part of their. You've got to have like thick skin.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was just more shocked than anything because it's not happened before.
No,
I feel like if it happens all the time, you kind of get used to it.
100%.
It's like if I all of a sudden got trolled, I don't really get trolled. But if I did start getting trolled all the time, I don't know if I'd handle it very well.
No, it's so true. So now, obviously, you've brought out Pop, so your supplement range. Tell us about that. Where did it come from? Like, where did the idea come from? And just tell me about it.
So the idea came from me in turmoil. So whilst I was going through all of like losing my business and everything, I was making the craziest decisions. Like, I couldn't think straight every day. Yeah. Every day I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to honestly, I ordered like 10 grand's worth of hair extensions kits, even though I told myself I didn't like doing hair extensions anymore. So but I was like, I've got to do something. I was irrational. Yeah. I couldn't think straight. Yeah. And I had a really bad anxiety. So I started looking for supplements. And then I thought to myself, do you know what? We just need a supplement for entrepreneurs because this is normal for an entrepreneur. Yeah. So I thought, do you know what would be a really good idea? And it just came out of nowhere. Started from that. And then I thought a supplement that gives you a bit of free coaching. Yeah. So our supplements they've got clinically studied ingredients and they're great for mental clarity, energy, reduce brain fog, focus, so that you're just like, you know how I am now. Like, I'm just sharp as a tack. And so they do that. But if you subscribe, you also get free coaching. And I've partnered with like a mental health
that's really good.
expert who predominantly works with business owners. So she covers things like having tech breakdowns, cash flow, sleepless nights from cash flow.
Oh, wow.
Next month, well, actually this month as we're recording, so it'll probably be out by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
We're talking about mum guilt. So we're talking about daily problems.
much, yeah.
And they get to have little 10-minute videos just
I love
each month
that.
on subjects that we wouldn't necessarily go up to somebody and talk about.
Yeah, that's
But
so
it's
true.
just letting them feel heard,
Heard.
understood, and giving them a little coping mechanism for that day or
Oh
that
my
week.
God, I literally
so
love
I just thought
that.
it would all go in nicely.
Yeah,
and
because
it's
obviously you're not just selling a product, you're literally like giving an experience with it then. Oh my God, I literally
so I just
love
thought
that.
it was a USP. Couldn't find it done anywhere.
No, never heard of that.
And yeah, we're going to be in Vogue
Oh
in
my
February,
God,
March, April, and May.
amazing.
No, February, March, and April. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's actually amazing. So do you feel like obviously you're just going to be doing that now alongside with the...
No.
Oh,
That
okay,
is so
next
funny.
thing.
I know. So I'm going to be focusing on the coaching for now. The supplements, I'm going to hire as much as I can. So I'm going to be the brains and the ideas, but I'm not going to be working in
it.
that business
Get you.
because that will then, my coaching business
Take
will
it all
start.
go-
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I need the coaching business at the minute. I'm not going to be doing coaching forever.
Yeah.
So I've probably got another few years in me at best.
Yeah.
That will fund my supplement business and it will fund my property business.
Oh, amazing.
And possibly some financial services businesses.
Right.
But my coaching business is my right now
You're like focused, like your full
flexible
focus.
income. Really enjoy it. It's
Yeah.
not where I see myself retiring.
Yeah.
My business is not a business that you can sell. It's not going to
No.
give me a pot of... I'm not going to work all these years and then at the end I'm going to sell it because it's nothing without me, the coaching business.
Of course, yeah.
Supplements business doesn't really... It
No,
can
it
be
doesn't
something
need
without
you.
me. A property
Yeah.
business, it's my legacy. It's my yacht money.
Yeah.
So
get you.
I'm working really hard on the coaching
So that
business
is basically
to fuel...
to fund that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I literally
That's the
love
plan.
that. Do you feel like you've always had this? Like, have you, obviously you said you're in sales before you did hair. Did you have like a business background before? Because I feel like you're so clued up in business. Like you just seem to
love
just
it.
take everything in. Like, yeah, you can tell you completely love it. And you just love what you do and you can like completely tell that. But did you have any experience before or
No.
not? Nothing.
No, so I went to school, grew up on a council estate. We didn't have much, but we had everything. So weird, like
Yeah, no, I
when
get that.
Rockports came out, we had them,
Yeah.
but we didn't have everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
had
I see what you're
Adidas
saying.
poppers and
Yeah.
so we had everything. When I look back, I thought I was rich, but I was a council estate kid.
Yeah.
But I
But
thought
you
I had
obviously-
I lived
yeah.
like a
A
rich
rich
with
kid.
love.
Yeah.
Life, like we didn't go without anything, but we also didn't have a
Didn't.
pot to piss in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%.
So I come from that background, and I always just thought, I can't wait to drive. I can't wait to have a
Yeah.
car. I'm going to move to London. I'm going
Yeah.
to be a model. Like I just wanted to do everything.
Everything.
And I don't know if it's just a personality trait or whatever, but I've always just been, loud, in your face,
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
like extra. And I
Yeah.
think I was born like it.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
I don't think it's...
You're always like looking for the next, but
Yeah, I love
and
it.
it's always the next big thing. And you can
Yeah.
tell that, like you can really tell that you are just not chasing, but you are chasing.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
I
a
feel like
hustler.
whatever you, 100%, like whatever you get somewhere,
Yeah.
the next thing,
But it's
and
just
the next
the fun
thing.
of it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not a destination, and I learnt that. I used to think it was a destination. I used to be like, when I earn 10 grand a month, I'm going to be like rich. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, where is all this richness? Like,
Yeah, you literally
and then every time you get to your new goal, it's not what you think it's going to be.
No,
so
and
what
it's
I
so
do
true.
is I enjoy the journey. I
Yeah.
enjoy the challenge. It motivates me. It
Yeah,
gets me
100%.
up in the morning. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's fun. And that's why I'm so social. I go to all the events. Like,
Yeah, you're
I
like literally,
do
you're
because
everywhere.
I need to make it fun.
yeah, so
Fun.
true.
I'm
yeah.
a people person as
Yeah,
well.
you are.
If I die tomorrow, God damn it, I've had fun. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
love
Like,
that.
so I don't want to get caught up with, I do chase a lot and I do hustle a lot, but I'm not the person that will, if everything ended tomorrow, I haven't had fun.
Yeah.
So I'm not
You've
the person
enjoyed the
that
journey
lets
along
the
the way.
stress take over. And
Yeah, it's so
I'm
good.
deadly serious, but
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying myself.
Yeah. Oh my
So
God,
like,
I
I'm just
literally
living life.
love that.
Just living my best life.
Yeah, well, you literally are. And I feel like, if anything, you're an inspiration in that sense because you don't take it so, all right, you have situations, but you don't take it so, like, too hard.
Yeah,
that
everything
you
could
can
be
just-
gone
Yeah, so
tomorrow.
true.
And that's happened to me before, so I'm always
well,
like...
and that's the thing, because I feel like where you probably feel like you've hit rock bottom before,
Yeah.
now the only way is up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that is literally, like,
Everything's
keep going.
figure outable, as our therapist would say at Pop. But yeah, everything is. And that's what I always like, don't get me wrong, whilst you're going through that shit storm,
You don't think like that, 100%.
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But as long as you are doing something,
Yeah.
like the only way that it is not outable is if you do nothing.
Yeah.
If you are doing something, and when I say something, that is not focusing on the problem.
Yeah.
The main, like the piece of advice that I've got is do not focus on that problem because it's going to be there. You've got to focus on the solution.
So true.
Same energy that you cried your eyes out with, that's not that exact same. Like, you know what it takes to
Yeah.
you know, you've cried your eyes out and you're like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of energy. Put that
Yeah.
energy into the solution.
God, I
and you'll
love
be
that.
out of it like so much quicker.
Yeah, I feel like you need to like bottle your energy up and sell it to people because you'd be like a millionaire.
Trying to in the
You're like
pop
that. I'm just trying to get it in.
It's called Brain Boss.
That is so true. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming today. I've
Thanks for having
absolutely
me.
loved having you. And yeah, so this is probably going to air next year. We will tag all your everything on there, like all your socials. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.